topic is our document management solution, which covers both document management and also document generation. So two rather big areas you probably know from today. SAP SuccessFactors doesn't really have a clear strategy other than partner strategy. So that's the sort of approach for it. If you work with SuccessFactors, and I assume all of you have, you would have seen, but I need the slides first.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. You have different tools that you can rely on depending on the module that you're in. Recruiting offers an offer letter generator where you can generate an offer, a contract, so to speak, with the limit data set you have there. In Employee Central, we have a document generator that can generate more documents on the data set you have in EC, but it can't really store them. It can only send them or save them to your local drive as well. So there's these different options that where we have the possibility to generate documents, but the SAP's suggestion here is that we look to partners to solve that. So at EP, we have different options that we provide, but our strategic solution that we offer to many of our customers and also implemented for many of our customers is a product called Hurus, which is our preferred solution for that. So I'll try to take you through that a bit today. I'll skip that and get into the exciting bit. The flow we want to look at today is the contract bit. So generating a contract. So that's what we're going to focus on today. But the scenario, of course, can be more than that. Also, what I've just told you as well, right? And then see it signed in the system. So when you think about that process, we go through a whole set of steps in SuccessFactors that covers off getting to the point of actually generating a contract and seeing the data becoming into a contract as well. All the components we need to generate a real contract. That can, of course, vary depending on the countries you're in. In the US, a contract can pretty much be a post-it. I mean, that's probably simplifying it a bit. But in Denmark, it often requires a lot more. You need to know unions. You need to know personal details that you can't ask during the recruiting process, or you can ask at a certain step. But there are elements that build up to become a proper contract. So when we look at what we can do in SuccessFactors, we have all of these data points all the way from position management, telling us which job it is we're going to be holding, the job profile, the job text, the pay grade, all of these informations that we can use to put into the contract as well. And so the journey continues through recruiting into onboarding. Onboarding is where we'll also get a lot of additional data from the candidate that we've selected. We can ask them to verify, fill in the rest of the details they haven't shared previously, the real address, the real name, potentially even as well, or the full name. And we can also add in more details around the specific job we have as well. So at that point, we really start to have a strong data set for the contract that we can generate as well. So when we get into EC at this point in time, that's where we think it's the right point in time to generate a contract. That being said, we can do it differently. So let's go to this. That's the whole point about this, is that we have a really high quality data set. Contracts correctness is going to be very, very high at this point in time. We would have more eyes on it. We would have the candidate review the data once more time, and we will have a really strong, good point for the contract. And we can also store the contract in SuccessFactors at the same point of time. So we can follow that fully digital experience of the contract generation. No paper being taken out of the system, no paper going into emails. Everything's going to be stored in a profile, sent by a signing provider into the system again and back again, never ever leaving the proper digital process. So really, really a strong asset for having a proper digital experience for the end user. Of course, there are some risks, but again, it's not risks that we see because the system actually caters for this. We have the ability to report on no-show employees. So even if you have extended a contract, you can then tell a proper story about people that didn't show up for work as well. So the whole risk about putting data into the system and actually generating a proper contract for them is also something we don't really see as risk. It just tells the full story about what it is you've been doing with these employees. Yeah. But that being said, we can generate documents, not just contracts, from any data set in SuccessFactors. So we can generate, of course, in recruiting, in onboarding, when they're hired in Employee Central, we can generate performance letters, summer party invitations, anything you really like, we can generate and we can use we can use as a starting point for the data. So who are you? Where do you live? What should we send to you? What should we generate? It can be part of that. And we can include a digital signing process as part of that as well. So keep that in mind when you're going to be seeing this. You can use it pretty much for any data set that you have in the system. Yeah. Order forms for clothing or what else it could be could also be part of that process. So the tool that we work the most with, as mentioned, is our document management tool. And some of the key features, I'm just going to cover that, and then we'll go to the demo, hopefully the exciting bit. But of course, digital signatures is a key element as well. So getting a signature on the document. And here we support different vendors, DocuSign, VeriSign, Scribe, Adobe Sign is on the roadmap as well. So again, we really want to keep it as open as possible. And we can also have different signing providers depending on different country needs that you might have. So in Denmark, you might have a need to have DocuSign verification, which is a more expensive version of verifying who you are. And then you can buy that here, and then you can use Scribe for other populations in the Nordics as well. So we support having multiple signing providers depending on the template that you're required to use as well. It's fully embedded into SuccessFactors. We actually don't store any data in our platform. So we use and we query all data real time from SuccessFactors, meaning that we don't have the user, we don't store the documents here, we keep everything in SuccessFactors. And why do we do that? We really want to simplify the data time retention management, so the GDPR concept of it. We want to keep data one place. So all of your rules that you've set up today around how long you're keeping employee data, personal data, address data, and so on, all of that will still be upheld and will be purged as part of that. No additional layer to be put on top of that. And as mentioned as well, we can integrate with all the various modules that are. So meaning that we can take data from any module and use it there. Yeah. It is also a full digital personal file. So we can sort of, if you work with SuccessFactors and documents today, it's a very scattered experience, to be honest, right? You will have an offer letter in candidate profile. You will have a job letter in a different part. You'll have your work permit in EC. You'll have your performance letter in compensation management and so on. So what we can do with the digital personal file part is that we can collect all of that and put it into a nice filing cabinet. So instead of you going to various places in the system, you pull out one drawer for yourself, and then you can see all the different documents we have on you. And you can go into the different folders and see the different documents we might have on you. And how long we've had them, if they're signed or not, if they are required to be updated, if there's an expiry date on it as well, we can make the system react to that as well. Yeah. So also again, a mass tool is available, so we can upload masses of documents, but of course also mass generate. So if you want to send out a salary adjustment letter based on unions, we can generate thousands of letters at once. Again, invitation to the Christmas party, we can send everybody a letter at once. So again, also a strong feature for really optimizing the process. Flexible retention periods. So it might, as I mentioned, you might have your retention periods in place, but we can actually go further down and have specific documents or types of document act differently. We want to keep them longer after determination, or we want to keep them short amount of time, depending on this. We can also set that up as well. We have a really, really nice feature called document compliance that I want to show you in a few moments. And that's, again, we can do these compliance checks. And compliance checks can mean many things, of course, I'm aware of that. But for example, a compliance check could be, do we have all the right documents for you as a new hire? Do we have a signed contract? So signed being a check mark. Do we have a passport if we need you to travel and so on? We can build up these checks for you in the system. So we have everything in place for what we consider a proper hired employee. And then the system will tell us if you're not. And then you can action that, and we can go check why we don't have that or request that as well. Or even generate them if they're missing, of course. Yeah. And we, of course, classic things such as searching documents and, of course, building new templates is out of the box. We can also use a routing option. So if we're generating a contract and for whatever reasons we've gone above a certain grade or rate or amount or included a bonus, we can actually have the generation process also trigger a workflow for an additional signer. If it is a big amount or something else, we can actually have an additional step of approvals or signers in the system as well, which is really nice in some cases. I'll leave that for now. We'll come to the UI itself, but it is a very modern UI. It's a single UI for everyone. We don't separate the experience between admins or managers, employees. It's all the same for everyone. So there's no difference as such. Very common to SuccessFactors. That being said, we don't always see the employees needing to have access to that. I know I mentioned the whole the folder structure before as a good thing, but for employees, it's sometimes also nice that they go to their specific section of the system to look for their work permit, for their salary statement or whatever it is, right? So sometimes it might not be that they need access to the tool. It could be managers and HR employees that work the most with the tool for that matter. It's fully mobile enabled. So of course, documents can also be viewed for the SuccessFactors app. But if you have a need for even further functionality, then there is, of course, a full mobile enablement available. So where you can see all the documents, preview them, and generate processes as well. So that's just an additional by being a modern UI. The generation part is, of course, also a very important part. We've talked a bit about the digital personal file. The generation part is, of course, how we generate letters. It's a web-based editor, and that means that this is here where we're going to be building up the templates. It's very much like Word today. Also, if you work with Word online, it's also very much the same thing. And the way we work is we add in merge fields. So if you work with templates today, in any regards, then you know first name, last name, or any system that actually generates an output, it's the same idea. So if you have contracts today, then it's very likely it looks something like that. You have your first name, last name tag, and we just copy that, paste into the online editor, and we use the tags from SuccessFactors. Yeah, and then it pulls out data. And we can. The good thing about being a web editor is that as we generate, we can edit on the fly. So let's say we are missing a field, or we want to add an additional little comment. We want to add in a new logo or something else. Then we can edit on the fly as we generate it as well. It won't stop us. We don't need to go back and edit the data first. We can just edit on the fly when we generate the documents. Yeah, and of course, signature features and so on, as I mentioned before as well. It is not a SuccessFactors product, as I mentioned. It's using Microsoft to be hosted. It's not something you will see as such. Of course, there are some slight differences in design, but integration-wise, it uses all standard APIs, nothing custom built. We have single sign-on between the two platforms, so you won't experience that as a feature. So I think that's the key thing. Again, as I mentioned as well, no customer data stored here, so none of your data will be stored on platform. Basic users for admin users will be there, but no sensitive information or anything like that will be stored on the platform. Yeah. Good. I think based on that, I think I'll jump to the demonstration, and then we'll focus on that from here on. Bear with me, technical setup, hopefully. What will happen now, Marit, do you know? Can you see the other screen online? Somebody can confirm that?
I just see the other key feature slide. Don't see anything else.
And now?
Yeah, something just popped up.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Good. So you should all know this screen, I hope. Many different ways of accessing the tool. We can, of course, have a tile where we can log directly onto the platform. But of course, we can also go to employees that we know and love from all of the demos you've seen from us. And we can go to Jeff, and then we can generate from here as well. But I just want to show you really quickly how data can also be stored here. We can, as you know, data can be stored in different sections, as I mentioned before as well. Here we are looking at the work permit. We have a document stored there. We can scroll further down to employee documents. We have documents stored here in different sections. And this is what I mean for the employee. This is potentially a nice experience. He is looking for a specific document. He knows it in a specific section, and this is how he would likely operate. But a manager or an HR employee would probably prefer a filing cabinet experience, that you go into a place and you're looking at documents. You're looking at different sections of the filing cabinet to look for specific documents on contracts or passports or what else we're storing on him. But that's more a design question for you and your population as such. But all of these documents, this is what we're going to be pulling in, or not pulling in, visualizing in the tool. So this is what I mean. We're not storing any documents. We are just pointing at the documents in our solution. And when we generate, we send back to these folders where you want them to go. So if we're generating a work permit or whatever reason, if we could, or compliance document or contract, we'll send it to these sections where, together with you guys, of course, we are going to agree this is where we put the documents. Yeah. So we can start the process in different ways, as mentioned. We can generate a document directly from here. It will then take us to the generation screen. We can go and see the employee's documents. So we come to his profile. So instead of having to navigate to him, the system will take me to the screen for Jeff, where we can see the documents we're storing on his profile. so his dashboard. So again, the same documents we saw before, the similar thinking, but again, the filing cabinet feeling. So I'm looking at Jeff, but I can see we have different structures here as well. So these are the folders that we're talking about. How this looks, how this structure is going to be built is something we do together with you. And it's something you'll be adding up. You'll be adding more folders, subfolders, logic to all of this as you also grow with the system or grow with a solution. So if we check out the work permit, for example, we'll see the exactly same documents with some parameters on we saw before as well. But I'm just looking at this in a different way where I'm seeing every document that's stored on Jeff at once. Yeah? And if I want to upload, of course, then I can upload from here as well. So this is, again, just a different way of working with the documents. But let's look at the generation part. So the way we generate documents, and as mentioned, I could have done this directly from the profile, but here I'm just looking at different ways of doing it. So the first thing I can see here is that I have different document types to generate. I have a contract, a promotion letter, an extension of a contract, if it's a contingent worker I'm working with, a termination letter, again, whatever else it could be, I could have different steps here or different types of documents. The way we built this up is actually we have a process around each of these types. So we can take you through a process, or we take you through a process where we ask you certain steps to generate the document. So let's look at a contract. A contract consists of a few different steps. A input that we ask for, so who are we doing this for? The data source that we're pulling from. So another key feature of this platform is actually we can look at other data sources. So if you had some sales performance numbers in a different sales commission solution, we could actually pull out those KPI numbers that they measured on if you're doing a contract for a salesman, for example. So we can actually go out and take from different data sources if we require to. We, of course, select the template, and in this step, we also have a signing process, and of course, we're storing the document. So right now, the system is telling me what steps we're going through, and these are the steps that we're going to be filling out. So this looks fine. This is what I'll be working with. So the first thing it'll ask me for, who do I want to do this for? I want to do it for Jeff. If Jeff will appear. There you go. And again, key date. As we are working with effective data records, we have, of course, generate documents of a certain type. If we know we're giving him a promotion 2 months away from now, then we can change the effective data to that, and then the system will pick up those records in the system. So we can send out letters with changes that we've already put into the system. So promotion letters or salary changes, we can do that well in advance if we wanted to, as long as the records exist in the system. Yeah. Fine, we'll do it as of today, and we're ready to start the generation contract. So the system will now pull in the data as we've mapped in the template. We'll look at the template in a few moments. And we can see that we're actually missing a field. So the system will really nicely tell me what it is that's missing. We're missing a today's date, but we can see that other fields are being populated, and we can see we have a today field not being populated in the template. So there's something missing before we have a proper contract here. So I'll click that, and I'll correct that to being today's date. And we'll now have a date inserted into the template. So in this case, we're missing a bit of data, but also saying that if you don't have all data available in your system to generate a contract or letter, we don't actually need it. We can just correct and insert on the fly as well. We're not bound by must have all data fields in the system. It is a process that you can work with. But of course, if I want to change something else, it's really, really easy. I have an editor, and I'm ready to edit the contract. I can add in additional text, images, more merge fields from the system. If I want to insert, I can look for other fields in the system that I might have mapped, and then it will pull that in. And everything around the mapping of the fields is just knowing the SuccessFactors fields. That's all it takes. It's not coding or anything like that. If you want to add in a new field, you just need to know what the technical name of the field, and you can see that anywhere in the system. So really, really simple to work with. Good, but anyways, it looks nice now, and I'm ready to generate the contract. So now the system goes through its process of storing the unsigned version. At the same time, it's also asking for signature. So we're doing a signing process with Scribe, and we can see that it's now currently pending with Jeff for signature. So already now the system has gone off, and I should be getting an email shortly, asking me to sign the process through Scribe in this case, and it came here. So yeah. Yeah, but I just wanted to show it really quick, but I won't bore you with. And here we have the process for getting the Scribe. Again, really fast as well. Again, everything is web service based. So as soon as we click trigger or start, then we're ready to go. And we're taking to the actual document in this case. And it doesn't matter if this is Scribe, DocuSign, or VeriSign, or what else provider you might have. We can make this work the very similar way. Again, if you have a special one, let us know. I'm sure we can figure something out here as well. And here we have the contract with the name, the date we added in, and also ready to sign at the bottom. So we can click to the process, and we will take it down to the document. It takes us quite slowly through. But at the bottom here, we are ready to see the next step and complete. When I click sign here, what will happen then is that the system will pick up the file again and go from an unsigned document to a signed document in the system. So if we go look at the current version in the system, okay, I might be too slow now, but we have an unsigned, we just submitted, and then shortly, in a few moments, we will have a signed version instead. So we both have the signed and unsigned version in the system as well. We can also override it if we want to, for whatever reason. But if we want to have both versions in the system, then we can have that. Every name you see here and code and so on, something will change for what you want it to. So if you want tags included, so first name, last name, type of document, then we do that as well. So it's just more about how you want it set up. And we can see in the meanwhile, the process has actually completed in the background. And we've gone from having the signing step to actually have a stored signed version of the document. This can also run completely automatically. So you heard a bit talk around intelligent services today. And intelligent services is also something we can use to trigger this framework. So as soon as you click submit at the end of a hire, we can actually trigger this process in the background. So if you're really comfortable with your contract templates and you know it works every single time, pulls in all the right data, you've seen it work, then we can send off the documents immediately as we click hire, and then the process happens. And that means that you can submit a hire in the retail store that you're working in. The candidate employee will get the contract on their phone in front of them, they can sign, and then it's submitted back, and then they're actually active in the system with a signed contract and ready to start working, which is a really nice feature. I'm just conscious around time. Yep. There's a few other elements. We talked a bit around the compliance check as well. And if we look at where can I not see that right now? Sorry about that. Second. Apparently that's gone right now. So we will jump back to the presentation. Can we get back to the presentation?
I don't know.
Yeah?
I have to find out.
Otherwise, while we wait, I can see if it can pop up while we just stare here. 1 second. Nope. Otherwise, a few other things to highlight is that the compliance engine, for example, in this case here, would help us verify that we had all the documents we could have. And if anything was missing, we could start that process. It could be the missing signed contract or passports that are not uploaded, and then we could request those elements to be added in of it. So, and then the next question mark is then how long will it take to implement a document management solution? I wanted to take you through the route map that we work with when we implement our document management tool. It's a very, very short duration. We talk between 12 to 16 weeks maximum to implement it. And the reason for that is that, of course, you have many other templates in your system. Today, you might have 40 plus templates for various groupings of employees. You will have other sorts of templates you're using for addendums, bonus letters, and so on. But the whole point about getting to this short timeline is that we just want you live with certain templates that you can work with. The idea is to enable you to own the templates, drive the templates, and keep working with the templates so that you can keep changing them, adding them, optimizing them. Hopefully the idea about having a document management tool like this is that you also get your number of templates down. Because of the logic in here, we can make templates behave in a certain way. If you belong to legal entity A, we show logo this, but if you belong to legal entity B, we show logo this. Same template, but two different purposes. Do you have benefits or eligible benefits? We show the benefits section. We have that stored in compensation information. Then we have the benefits section included in the standard contract. So we have companies who's gone from 80 plus templates to 20. And then you can talk about time spent on managing templates versus actually having a business case just alone on that. So that's really a huge optimizer here. So in that regards, it's a really dynamic process of us working together with you, giving you as much hands-on as possible, working with the templates so you become the owner of the templates at the end of the day. So if you're interested in this, reach out and we'll be more than happy to demo, to show, and see if we can inspire you to using our document management tool. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, sure. Sure.
Okay. And you may have covered them, so I apologize, but they're still there, and I want to make sure that we answer them. So somebody wants to know if the documents will the documents be stored on the MDF object?
Yes, correct. It can be stored on custom MDF objects, or it can be stored in the sections that we've talked about today: work permit, job info. So pretty much any section in the system where they can be held. Yeah.
Gathers local required forms and then pushes them to your solution.
So was the question if we could hold other documents, or what was the question?
Yeah, can documents be integrated from another solution that supports local compliance?
Yes, we can pick up any documents from any other system. That would be a basic integration between SuccessFactors and that system. So yes, and we can also show them in the document digital personal file then as well. Yes. Yes, you'll have the slides, of course, afterwards, but one of the key points is as well, we respect role-based permissions. So any segregation that we do of these documents will be 100% respected by that. So if you also want to have a new section where we hold even more confidential documents, if you want to call it that, then we can add those permissions on top of that to make sure that it's completely segregated from a permission aspect. Yes.
And one final question. Is it enough to just have the SAP licenses, or do you require to have something more?
You're required to have more here. It's a separate license and a separate implementation. So reach out. It's very competitive pricing. So let us know, and then we'll find something. Yes.
Okay, that's all the questions that I have online.
Good. Yes, we have some questions in room as well.
This new document filing cabinet thing, does it come with a monitoring dashboard? Because that's something we've been waiting for. We send a lot of documents through Juris with pending signature.
Yeah.
And we like to keep track on pending signature getting closer and closer and closer to hire date. So make sure that everybody signs before they start. And that's a feature we've been missing so far. Is that part of this release?
Yes, it is.
So that was what you tried to show, perhaps?
No, but there's let's see if it no, it does not. No, okay. But yes, this whole process step that is now being added in. So what I show you, and you also saw that it was saying pending on the signing?
Yeah, but that you see it as a mass action. You don't need to go into the separate employee and check.
No.
And so
there's
see
a whole process monitor now, process manager tool is it called, where you can see all of these actions being done. Actually, a fantastic feature, and you can cancel them, you can action them.
Yeah.
So this process manager here will see everything you need to act on in progress, and also all historical. All of these things here is what we've just triggered.
Because it's two scenarios we've really been looking for. First of all, to make sure that they sign before they start.
Yeah.
And the second one, actually more urgent case, is if they reject the signature with a comment, because that could really require rework from our side to be able to produce a new contract before the deadline.
Yep.
So those are really, really urgent and needs to be prioritized
Yes.
from our side.
So
Currently, we have a problem
take you through
monitoring
that now, and you even have the logging up there to pull out even more details. But everything, for example, if an issue was rejected by one of the signers, it would say rejected down here.
Yeah.
Not sure about the comment, but it's still being very much enhanced. I think we have just 3 releases up until August now as well, where they'll be adding more and more features every single.
That's excellent, because currently we are logging that information from
Yeah.
DocuSign. We can't catch it here.
Yeah, but
All right.
When does this release when is it available to us?
yes, very good question. As mentioned, we have some customers, but we've already implemented this, and this is the brand new feature of the generation part. So all new customers are starting on this. The goal is that Q4 will start with existing customers being migrated to this as well. Yeah. Yeah. If you want to be kept in the loop, I'm happy to set up sessions with you, and then we can, if there's any actually pain points, it might be a good idea. So we'll be reaching out to you, Monica and Pierre.
This request, it was a POC we delivered to Bram, I think, 2 years ago. So we've been waiting for it.
Yes, yeah. And I think most of your requests have been heard in some of these new features. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Excellent. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you, Christian.
Thank you.